All right, welcome to the Be Great Inspiration Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cook. I got a special guest for y'all. What's crazy is my girlfriend's from Holland, Michigan. So we never really got to meet, but now's the opportunity for you guys to learn about my guest, hear his story, and be able to apply some of these tools that he's going to tell you within his story that you can apply to your life. So at this time, I would like to welcome Jorddan Myrick. Welcome to the show, my guy.
I appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate it. I'm mad we
No.
couldn't link up that first time, but we made some shake. So
Facts. I think, the first time when I was really up there, though, it was COVID, man. And
it was
I just got tested and stuff COVID, don't get me wrong, for the people that's listening, COVID's still here and all that.
still,
But when
yeah.
I was really up there, you know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't get to really link because my test, bro, to this day, I never got that test back.
Word?
Yes.
How
I
you?
never got
That's
it. That was
that's
in
like the most
December.
serious thing you could do, bro. Like that was in December. That's ridiculous, bro.
Yeah, this past summer. I never got the test. Me and Sydney never got our results back.
That's crazy,
And
man.
then
Cause
when
yeah,
we came, go ahead.
but, okay,
Then when
yeah.
I,
So my bad. So yeah, my thing was with the gym. I was having gym problems too.
yeah,
So like it was kind of like it was like, hey man, it's COVID. You could
facts.
kind of do it. We can kind of get some shaking. If not, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it was
Right.
kind of sketchy on my end too.
Right. I remember you saying that. And one thing they was kind of, for me, it was like at the time, now I still don't want to, put people at risk and stuff like that. But at the
Right,
time, I was really like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Jordan got to go back to his family. I got to go back to mine. Is it really worth it me getting an hour of work?
right, right.
You know
And
what I'm
that's something you
saying?
definitely have to take into consideration for sure.
Big facts. So, man, we're going to go ahead and jump into this, man. So, like, give us a little background. Like, what was it like growing up in Holland, Michigan?
Growing up in Holland, it was cool, man. Like I said, Holland's a small town. Um, Being a basketball player, so all eyes was on me. You know what I'm saying? I was making moves. I was in the newspaper all the time, so everybody was really cool with me. You know what I'm saying? Um, I really popped off early in Holland, so nobody really, nothing really big was happening too much. It was just Jordan playing basketball, man, in a small city. So
Right. So, what would you say, like, what was and all that's going on around you, right?
uh,
Like, getting the big notoriety, been in the newspaper, been the front page kid of like all the newspapers in Holland. Like, what was your biggest challenge being like a mixed kid in that small of a town that's super,
yeah.
conservative? Like, how was that?
It was interesting, bro. I don't know if it was so much racial, but I had tattoos too, so that didn't help at all either. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, everywhere I went, everybody knew who I was. I got tattoos all over the place, and it was like, oh yeah, you can't really mess up. You know what I'm saying? It was either stake to the court and kind of mind your p's and q's, and that's kind of what I did, bro.
Right. So when did it really kind of like hit a point where you were like, all right, every little thing that I do is under a microscope.
Well, that was high school, man. College coaches were recruiting me and stuff, and it was like, my parents was like, "Hey, man, this is different now. You used to have your fun and everything, but now it's a business. They looking at you as if they can have you on the court, if they can market you. You know what I'm saying? And as a high school kid, that's hard to understand. You know what I'm saying? Like you just always knew about hooping and stuff, but it's a business to it, and that's something I really had to adapt to early.
Yeah. So once it came to the business, I think that was one of the key things for me, man, is like once I like the game changed, bro. It's like you went from being like the kid in high school, like one of the best kids in your town, to being like on a team and you're just like, oh shit, like everybody's kind of on your level or better.
Everybody a killer. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely challenging too. Always having in high school, always having a ball in your hands. It didn't matter if it was an off day or a great day. I knew I was gonna get that rock. But college, bro, that's a whole different monster. You got killers from all over. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
See,
if you having a bad day, hey, it's
right.
it's over with.
It's over. They're gonna go at your head. So you
Looking
gotta
at your
tell us, man, like what was like one of the key things that you really dialed in, like when it came to like games, like give us some of your pre-game rituals.
Pre-game rituals. I try to take my mind off the stuff, man. Me and my homeboy, we would just go and play 2K, before the game, take your mind off stuff. I was never the one to really like lock in, you know what I'm saying? To like, oh, this is my matchup. I always wanted to kind of like be out of my own world a little bit and just like be free, you know what I'm saying? Because a game, I always look at like the game was fun because I put so much work in, you know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
was never the type to be like, oh, we got a game today, let me, sweating and stuff. Nah, maybe take a nap here and there. So
Yeah.
be cool, you know?
But when them Friday nights, like Friday night lights came on, you was a different
Oh
human.
yeah, yeah. You gotta turn that switch on for sure, man. No doubt.
Yeah. Did you ever hear racial slurs when you were playing?
You know what? I did it. We so in my conference back in the day, we played teams like Muskegon, East Kentwood. Who else was there? There was another West. I mean, the school that I was at was West Ottawa. So we had, it wasn't all white kids. It was biracial. We had everything under the sun. So it was
Yeah.
never no, it was never nothing crazy like that. So
Right.
that's a blessing though.
Yeah.
Some of these kids be going through it.
Yeah. I already know, man. I think like once I went to so I played at Rome State Community College.
Yeah.
And man, that was like one of the hardest towns to play in because
Where
of
was
the
that at?
racial stuff. It's in Harriman, Tennessee.
Ooh,
Yeah, so like
ooh.
you really you're about 45 minutes from Knoxville, but you in the country.
You in the
You know?
country, and they don't
Yeah,
like that.
no, not at all. So it's like for us, it was like the microscope. Going to Walmart, going here, like the stereotypes, like everybody looking at a 6'7" black kid walking through Walmart, like, okay,
Right.
what's he here to do? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm just trying to get my groceries so I can cook tonight.
Man, that's
Did you ever battle that stereotypes?
no, I never really battled that at all, man. I kind of fit in all, all spectrums. Like,
Yeah,
mixed kid. Everybody kind of knew, like I said, everybody kind of knew who I was. So it wasn't no who is he, what's he doing here? No,
right.
Holland's pretty diverse. So
Yeah. So you was like that small town hero.
I wouldn't say that, but I definitely people knew who I was for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So we go into, you know, going into I think as athletes we all go through this. I know I definitely did. For me, basketball became my identity. It was
Yeah,
who I was. You know what I'm saying? That's all I knew. That's all I wanted to do. And then once it became a time where I was like, you know what? I don't want that to be my idol anymore.
yeah.
So, like, what advice would you give the kids or, parents with kids that their sports becomes their identity? Like,
Yeah, man, that's a tough one. I know for me, I was just known as a basketball player, and when everything kind of ends, you get lost. You get lost. You get lost in that. This is who I was. What do I do now? My advice was just to, go out and do other things. You can't look at you can't look at a sport and say like that's me. Like you got to be able to go out in the community and do other things and expand your mind and go ahead and just be a human. We're not here just to play a sport. We're not here just to entertain. Like you got to go ahead and just have fun and live your life. And that's what I really got caught up in was work, work, work to the point to where it was like I don't know anything else. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I definitely feel that, man. I remember times with, me and my dad, man, we was out there shooting. We started like 5, wouldn't get done to like 8.
Man,
And it's like, as a kid, you wouldn't even notice. Like, you 14 years old, you just shot the ball for 3 hours, and you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, other kids playing the game, they on a video game, they riding bikes, and you just putting in work.
you training, you don't even know you training.
Yeah,
And for
facts.
real,
You don't
that's
know
real,
nothing
man.
else.
Nah, you can get caught up in that as a kid.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
that's all I do. I don't even I don't even
right.
hang out with friends for real. So
Yeah,
yeah, man, that's my advice is just go out and have fun, be a kid, man. Explore. Don't get locked into one thing and have your head just locked in like that. Like that's terrible to do. So
right. Yeah, I think That's advice I would definitely give to a kid, just being able to, like you said, expand your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I didn't really start playing organized basketball till I was 14. You know what I'm saying? So I really was like, I mean, I played, running at the park and stuff like that, but it was never like I guess you would say like a love. So it was more of like just something that I just did when I was a kid. But then once it became like, I really was like, all right, you got to put in the work. I remember the 6 a.m. workouts. I remember, you
Man,
know what I'm saying, getting up at 5 in the morning, my dad driving me in the truck, dropping me off. I'm at school before everybody else.
hey, putting in
I mean,
work.
it's pitch black outside.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. You put in serious work. Like I said, you didn't even know it was work at that time, though. You know what I'm saying? You kind of fell in love with it, but at the same time, you kind of looking at it like, dang, I'm up again.
Yeah,
What is all this about? So
facts. So like when did it hit a time where you like as far as recruiting went, like did you have a lot of thought into where you really wanted to go, or was it kind of like just destined that you was going to go to Central Michigan?
um, I always knew like I was kind of a mid-major player just because I couldn't shoot the ball very well. So I knew high major wasn't really my ceiling. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So I always I remember telling somebody, one of my old teammates in high school, like, yeah, bro, I'm probably gonna play in the MAC. And I was a freshman and I had no offers. Like he was
yeah,
like, where you going, you nice, like where you about to play? I was like, bro, I'm probably gonna play in the MAC somewhere at Western or Central, to be honest with you. So once that offer came, I was like, yeah, it's time. It's time for that. So
yeah.
yeah, it's
So
crazy.
so you basically what you did, you just spoke it and it manifested.
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, yeah, put in a lot of work though, man. I
Yeah,
always talk about with my guys is, you can always manifest things, but you got to put that work in too.
facts.
The work got to match that talk. So I was definitely going crazy, going hard, and then yeah, when that offer came, it was like, wow, this makes sense.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So you're sitting. So give us the scenario for my listeners. So you're sitting at home, coach calls or he comes by the house.
Oh, I was actually in a tournament in Chicago, and they couldn't talk to me because I think it wasn't in the recruiting time where they can talk.
Yeah,
So they actually had called my mom, and then they had called my high school coach and told me I was offered. And then I was with my stepdad, and my stepdad was like, "Hey man, they just offered you a full ride." I'm sitting there at a sophomore in high school, like it's exactly what I wanted. It's what we worked for. So came quick for
wow.
me.
So let
Yeah.
me ask you this. So once you did get that offer, did the work change or did it go to another level? Like, did you get comfortable and say, well, look, I already got a full ride. This is where I've always wanted to go.
Right, right. No, man. The work definitely amplified, bro. I actually got a trainer. I was working out a guy that played at the Division 1 level, and he was putting me through hell.
Yeah,
Put me through hell every time I go out to GR. Grand Rapids is 30 minutes away. I'll drive over there after school almost every day. And I thought I was working out on my own. Nah,
yeah.
there's a whole different level we was tapping into. So yeah, man, the work definitely amped up for me.
Facts. I think that's how it was for me too, man. Once I was at Rome, I realized like I'm not a D1 guy, but that was kind of like my focus going into it.
Mhm.
And then, it kind of hit me like, yeah, you just gonna have to take a different route. And I'm glad I
Yeah,
took that route, you know what I'm saying? Because the
yeah,
route blessed me with so many other things that I didn't realize. Like I think as kids, and the parents that's gonna hear this message is don't allow your kids to be so focused on Division 1. Like it's like when I went to Barton, it's amazing the people that I met, the love that I got from the school,
yeah,
been in magazines, been, on posters and been in, greeting cards and all that stuff was like, wow, I never really focused on the whole Division 1 thing. I was just focusing on where I was,
yeah,
you
man.
know?
I definitely agree with that. I feel like kids get locked into the whole D1 or nothing type of deal, but like you said, man, that's love over there. That's
Facts.
love coming. Getting in magazines and being like a poster boy. because at the Division 1 level, it's cutthroat, man. If you ain't cutting it,
Yeah.
you got a picture in a sense. So,
Right.
oh man, I definitely agree with that. I feel like everybody should shoot for the stars, but shoot for their own stars. You know what I'm saying? So it's
That's
not
deep.
always it's not always about the D1 level. It's about as high as you can go, and then building off of that.
Yeah. I
For
think
sure.
that's one thing that I try to tell kids now is like I'm not shooting your dreams down, but you never know what that other school can do for you as far as the resources. You know what I'm saying? The people that you're gonna meet, the connections that you're gonna make for life. Like I think as like, for me, I would say go somewhere where you're gonna be great. You know
Exactly,
what I'm
man.
saying? Not really where you have to like sit behind a guy and then learn the system, then do all that. Or, sit behind a girl. Go somewhere where you can thrive, not only on the court, but off the court. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
totally agree with you on that one, man. That's 100% on that for sure.
Yeah. So you get to CMU, right?
Uh,
And then stuff, kind of doesn't escalate the way that you thought it would. So you're at CMU and a tragedy hits your life, you
hard.
know, really hard, right? So everything that you put the time, the effort, the focus, the discipline, the hard work, like just the drilling, the sweat, the tears, just everything, right?
Yep.
And then in one moment, it's all gone like that. Like
Gone.
how how did that affect your mental health? Since this is mental health series, I want you to speak on your mental health.
Yeah, man. So we ran a mile, right? Time mile. I ran that thing as fast as I could, and my body went into shock. Laid on the ground. It was like an outer body experience almost, bro. I can't shit you not. Like I felt like I was looking over myself laying on the ground. Like it. So mentally, I was in shock, right? And then as the days went on and the pain came, that's when stuff really started to mess with me. That's when I was really like starting to doubt and question everything that I went through. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember days just laying in bed and having this pain and just looking up at the ceiling like why? Why me? Like is it over? And mentally I've never been through anything that hard before leading up to that. So when that hit, man, that was like life changing for me, for sure.
Yeah. So you're sitting on the bed. Like, was there ever a point like where you was like, man, you know what? I just want to give up on life, or did you ever have any suicidal thoughts? Because you invested so much into basketball, and then in a click, it was gone.
Yeah, so there was some nights where suicidal thoughts would linger, but at the same time, like I'm one of those guys like when I would work out, like when I would train, I would put myself through hell just to go through it. So like yeah, those thoughts would come, but like I knew I was gonna get through this. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
mentally I was strong enough, but those questions definitely did come and go. No lie.
Yeah, yeah. I think like for me, one of those things. For me, it happened to me at Barton when I had some health issues going on, and I got sick myself. And I'm just sitting in my dorm, and I'm like, are you serious? I put in all this time, all this effort for this to happen right now. And it's like the
Yeah,
suicidal thoughts, all the thoughts in my dorm, all those became like alive.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Thoughts that you thought you would never have.
yeah, like
Seriously.
I'm too alive. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah,
when
man.
that happened, and it's like, yo, whoa, 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 this is something that I never thought would happen to me, but
And
it
it
definitely
happened
happened.
and it happened so fast too. That's the crazy part, man. It's like it's when stuff like that happens, it's not like you're prepared for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like it's not you can see it coming. So, especially at that age, it was like it's like, damn, man,
right.
what the fuck?
Yeah,
What's this all about? Like, what's the meaning behind it? And those are questions that's hard to answer at the moment.
right. So let me ask you this. So after all that happened, like what did you learn about your life? Like what was a moment in your life where you were like, it was just meant to happen?
Well, when I really figured out like why everything happened, is that what you're asking? Why everything happened for
Yeah.
me? Um, I would say training, man. Like a couple years ago, when I was working out with kids and stuff, I was like, this would have never happened if I was healthy. I would have never pursued anything else other than playing in the basketball world if this happened. If this never happened to me. So that's when everything kind of came for a full circle. You know, I just looked at this kid understanding stuff, and I'm like, this is a new Jorddan. Because I was never interested in anything other than bouncing the ball. Like seeing it from a coach's perspective, it was
Yeah.
just that's when everything was like, okay, it makes sense. I get it. Thank you for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
I think, man, seeing your work on Instagram, man, is like seeing you work with the kids, and that's why I kept staying on you, and I kept messaging you like, "Yo, post your work, man." Like
Right.
people, you know what I'm saying? Like people like me want to see it, not because I'm not trying to come to Holland because man, that's too far. One, I don't want to
It's
live in
deep.
that town. You
It's
know what I'm
deep.
saying? Yeah, you way up there, and I'm like, I ain't trying to take your job, but man, I want to. You know what I'm saying? People want to see the work that you're doing, so I'm proud of you, bro. So just what I'm saying, keep
Appreciate
doing what
that.
you're doing. Keep being great, man, and just keep helping those kids because more than anything, like some of the kids that I coached, when I was down here coaching youth basketball, and now I see them like graduating middle school. I see them going into high school, and they're coming to me saying, "I remember how you impacted my life when," you know what I'm saying, and that's
And that's
that's that's what matters to me.
yes.
Not
Yes.
what we can do on the court. That's cool. Like if you
Yeah.
turn out to be a great athlete, amazing, awesome. But like how I impact your life is way more important to me.
100%, man. Like that's something that I really noticed too. Is like, yeah, we can learn moves all day, but when you get those calls and those texts like, hey, coach, I appreciate you putting the work in. You know, the work that you would instilled in me. Like I'm taking this and I'm applying it here in life. And I'm like, man, like
Yeah,
it's like, man, when we was working hard like that and I wanted to give up, like I'm at a point in life where I remember back to that situation and now I got through it. Like
yeah,
that's what it's about at the end of the day. You know, it's not about, yeah, we want to get better on the court, but man, it's about those life lessons, you know,
yeah.
for
Who
sure.
who who would you say has been like your biggest influence in your life? Who's
Biggest
your biggest influencer that taught you a lot of life lessons?
biggest influencer was just watching my mother, you know. My like I said, my mom, she's everything to me. So watching her, you know, raise me and without, my dad or my stepdad in the picture at the moment, like that was seeing the sacrifices she made, like she's definitely the biggest influence because like I make sacrifices every day, man. You know, and if it wasn't for her, I don't think I'd be able to do what I do. You know, I literally watch
Right.
this woman work her ass off all the time, and I can't. Every day that goes by, it's like I gotta work hard. You know what I'm saying? Like the days when I was young and depending on my mom, she was out there grinding, so I can't I can't not
Mhm.
grind. You feel me?
Yeah, I definitely feel that, man. My mom, before my dad came along, man, like my mom was like, what I'm saying, working three jobs and stuff like that, just grinding, man. And I tell you one thing, man, like you talk about, I don't even know how to describe it, man. You only got one mom. That's all I
Yeah,
would say.
you
You
can't,
know what I'm
bro.
saying?
Yeah, you can't even explain it, bro.
For a woman to carry you in her stomach for that long and to be able to, there's nothing like a mother's love.
There's nothing, man. Unconditional love, bro. Like literally, like she's. I could talk about my mom for days, but yeah, man, like there's nothing like it, bro.
Yeah,
And like in your situation, and see her grind like that, like it just makes you want to work harder, bro.
it
You know.
does,
So
for sure. So after seeing you, we got to talk about this because I want people to hear this.
uh,
Is how did this really play a role in your life, and how did it become an escape? So I want my listeners to learn how this impacted your life and how you overcame it. So how did you get involved in drinking?
uh, so in high school and stuff, you party, you drink whatever, but like in my situation, it never was extreme at all. Honestly, at the moment, at the time, I was looking for an outlet. My outlet used to be playing. I used to just go to the gym, get shots up, work out hard, be exhausted, and And after that stuff happened, I looked down like, dang, I can hardly move my hip. I can hardly move my leg to the side. I can't go to the gym. So I started, just drinking all the time and ended up on a bad, bad road, man. And it was an ugly one. And I just used it as a vice to try to escape reality. I feel like when you go through something, you try to look for things to take your mind away from it. And, I used alcohol and I used it heavily.
Yeah. I think, just been to, sit in that chair that you are right now, right? And to be able to say that, I think that takes a lot of courage. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man, no doubt. Like that was, I feel like that's something that people, the things that you go through is something that needs to be expressed, whether it's down the road or not. Like you got to get that off your chest because, I feel like I know for myself, this is something I always thought about, man. I always thought about those times where, I use drinking as an outlet, and I'm happy now I can express it. I've never really, spoken out about that. So
yeah.
it feels
And
good.
that's what I'm saying. For you to jump on a show and be able to express that and speak that, that takes a lot of courage, man.
For sure.
It takes a lot of bravery. So I'm proud of you and I appreciate you being on here. But I think it really got real, you know. One night
Yeah.
I think the drinking really got real, and I want my, listeners to hear this too. So as you're driving home one night, right? And
Yeah.
the about me that you sent me, you get pulled over.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I left the bar, and at that time it wasn't like drinking just to have fun. Like I was drinking to escape. So you think drink is just a couple of mixed drinks. Nah, it was shots, and it was shots before I was leaving.
Yeah,
So it would be like final call. I order a couple shots to hit the road.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I got in my vehicle. Remember, I was on the highway, and a patrol officer had pulled somebody over already, and I ain't even. It could have went left quickly. I ain't even merged over, bro. I was just moving. So another officer had seen that, got behind me. He was like, "Hey, you could have took out my partner." I'm so drunk. I'm just looking over like, man, sorry. You know what I'm saying? Just being totally immature and an asshole. And yeah, bro, like that was a scary, scary moment that I didn't realize at the time.
Yeah. So you ended up going to jail.
Yeah.
So you're sitting in the cell. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Like, do you even after you wake
Yes.
up?
Yeah. So it took me some time to get sober, because you're in the drunk tank and they ain't let you out until it's a certain level. And once I came to, it was like, yeah, it's time for a change, man. Something's
Yeah,
got to change. You can't keep holding on to this who I was and this, that, and the third. You got to move on. And drinking was definitely something that kept me tied to that. You know what I'm saying? Like when I would get drunk, I'd be like, oh, I was this, that, and the third. Like in reality, I wasn't nothing anyway. But that was what was holding me to that guy that I was.
right. Wow,
Yeah, man.
that's deep, man.
That's real, man.
So by the time you're walking out of the jail, you're like, all right, that guy that was in there, I'm not going back to him.
Gotta change. Exactly.
Wow.
Gotta change. Yeah,
So
man.
then, as you go through your stuff, and your DUI, your charges and stuff like that. So you got to speak on like once you told me in the about me, you started having to go to AAA,
Yeah.
and so how did AAA play a huge role in your impact of your mental health and change your life?
Yeah. So when I left the jail, I was like, yeah, I gotta change, right? And that's all cool. But hearing it from somebody that's been affected by a drunk driver hits totally different.
Mm,
It was a requirement that if you have a DUI that you have to go through and listen to impact statements through parents and families that have been affected by a drunk driver. And hearing these stories, like it almost brought me to tears. I was in the back of the class looking around like, I am not like y'all. Like this can't be who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna get out of here and really change. So
Yeah.
hearing those stories, like it really pounded home to like what I have to do to change. Like I have to give it up, you know.
Yeah.
So that was an eye-opening experience, and it's something that I needed to move forward.
Right. So you got to tell us like how's so now you're clean. Things have changed in your life. You're training kids. You know, you went through your stuff at CMU. You went through your DUI. You went through your AAA. You know, requirements. How has sobriety been for you?
Oh, it's cool, man. Like now, if I go out and I hang out, it's not to escape. Like if I do have a drink or two, like it'll be for fun. You know, I'm not out here trying to run from anything, and that's the difference. You know, it took me a while to take another drink, but since then I have been drinking, but it hasn't been to escape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's where I feel like people get it mixed up. Like it's okay if you know why you were doing it in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not abuse anymore. It's for fun. You know,
Yeah.
and it's not like the level that I was either. Like that, Chris, man, that was a whole different monster, dog.
Yeah.
That was a whole different monster, bro. Like looking back, like that was a dude I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
If you would have seen the amounts, it would be like, bro, you 5'10", 175, bro, you good?
Yeah.
You know, so it got ugly, but like I said, man, times have changed, and I don't do it to escape. So
Right. So let me ask you this, man. Do you think you I would say, because I feel like your childhood plays, my last guest, man, we were actually just talking about how your childhood trauma plays a key role into, your life that you live today. Because, what I've always said is you only know what you're taught, you know what I'm saying, as a kid. So was
true.
there ever like did did your childhood trauma ever play a key role into you drinking?
I mean, honestly, man, alcohol wasn't in my household growing up at all. You know, and
Yeah.
you say childhood trauma, I really didn't go through anything too crazy. I just feel like when I went through when I went through my surgeries and was trying to, cope with it, it was like I just need something, and that's what was available. But yeah, man, there was nothing like my mom and my dad never drank in front of me. I can't
Yeah.
remember. I remember like there would be special occasions or like a party or something, and they would never be tore up or anything like that.
Right.
You know, that we didn't keep liquor at the house or anything. So for my situation, it was just something that I needed to find, and that was the easiest thing for me to get. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Man. That takes a lot of courage, man. So like, what's some of the so now, training has become really, really your focus in life and, impacting kids, and changing their lives, which I think is so beautiful, to go from, the guy in the newspapers, the guy on the front page of every newspaper to go to CMU and go through the tragedy that you went through in your life to, go through your drinking, go through the DUI and now be to where you are now. Man, I think it's beautiful. And that's
Appreciate
what I
that.
wanted to tell you, man. I think that, like I
Yeah,
said,
that's
man, just
love.
yeah, keep
That's
doing
love,
what
bro.
you're doing, man.
I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, man. Like looking back, that was that was a huge, those highs and lows. Real like everything I ever wanted was there. You know what I'm saying? So once everything was here, everything was taken. So it wasn't like a little dip. It was a it was a nosedive down.
yeah,
And looking back, like you know, this whole basketball training, coaching, like it saved me, man. Like I love the person that I am today because of that. But like we were talking about, I don't think I can become who I'm becoming if I didn't go through that. And I think that life is always going to test you. Life's going to test you good, life's going to test you bad. And you just got to be able to be mentally strong enough to get through that, you know? Um, And I feel like a lot of guys get lost in that. They think that life's just kicking them down, but it's a test, man. You know, you need to change. You need to do better, and you just got to recognize that and fight it.
Yeah. So following off of that, what advice would you give, to someone fighting mental health every day or wanting to change? And
Yeah,
they
man.
say, to you, Jorddan, I don't know how to change, but I want to change. What advice would you give them?
My advice would be, do what you love, man. And if you can't do what you love, do something that you love in that field. Does that make sense? Like for me, I knew playing was over, but I knew that I could potentially make an impact training or coaching. So everybody has something that they love to do, whether it be, X, Y, or Z, but you got to go out and you got to pursue that. And you got to get your mind off of the hard things that's happening. And then you got to understand that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. When I was going through my whole situation, I never really, I had those thoughts, but they never tied me down. Like I knew I was going to get through it. And I'm not a quitter. You know what I'm saying? So anybody fighting mental health, like you gotta understand that you're gonna get through it, and you gotta find something that you love and pursue that.
Wow, that's beautiful. I ain't got nothing else to say. You just
Appreciate
secured
you.
the bag, basically. So,
Hey man,
man,
that's what we do.
I really, I hit all my guests with this question at the end of the show. You know, I think, people have been able to hear your story and learn. There's something definitely that they can take from it. There's things that I can take from it that I didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? I was reading your about me and I'm like, yo, this dude really has a story, which we all do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But like,
we all got a story for sure.
so to definitely, read your about me and, hear your story and, just see what you've been through and then just to see that the man that you are today, I think is inspiring. And that's why I wanted you to be on here. But I want people to hear this and I want people to feel this more than anything, so what does being great, you know, be great mean to you in your life?
So in my life, be great means it's more than just it's more than being great just in my profession, right? I feel like being great means you have to do the little things, man. You gotta be great at all times. You gotta do the things that when people aren't looking that you're doing. The helping an elderly woman or man open the door. You know what I'm saying? Open the door for them, or being polite to the guy that's not necessarily it's kind of being picked on at times. Being great means stepping out and trying to help, and yeah, I think that's that's what it means to me, man.
Yeah,
Just doing the little things in life.
man. See, that's what I love when people give their definition because they're always so different, but they're always like a little similar. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I
Yeah.
love that definition, man. So you got to give us this. So, like, where can people find you?
Yeah, man. So I'm on Instagram at Jorddan Myrick Hoops. That's with two D's. I'm on Facebook, Jorddan Myrick. So if
Yes,
you're looking
sir.
for some training or whatever, just DM me on Instagram, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, I appreciate you being on here, man.
I appreciate you having me, man. It's a blessing.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's why I had to have you on here. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like your story could be a blessing to someone else, not only just to
Definitely.
me, but to other people. So, like I said, man, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Chris, man.
Yes, sir.